the hell?
Lord Invocatus.
How is this the first time I'm seeing him?
Well, the World Leaders book came out kind of recently, so.
And he rides that thing on a wave of flames?
He flies. That character has
my
fly.
God, that's so cool.
It's very
Holy
fun.
shit.
So, this is also how large quantities of demon engines and tanks and stuff made its way onto the atmosphere, riding flame until they finally hit the ground and then start blasting. It's like that scene in the A-Team movie with Liam Neeson, where they're like flying the tank with the parachute.
I never saw the A-Team movie with Liam Neeson.
Have you not seen that scene at least? Where they're
I haven't.
There's this
that
part.
Movie looks so cringe.
It is kind of cringe, but there's a part where they're in like an AC-130 and they have to bail, and so they get out in a tank and they have like parachutes and they're shooting shit with the tank while falling. It's hilarious.
Oh man. Can you imagine being an Imperial soldier watching that? Just watching these chaos corn world eaters riding in on fire. This guy has a unicorn horse that has a chainsaw for a horn.
Yes.
No,
World Eaters are not subtle. I dropped my book. World Eaters are not subtle.
No, not naming. Good Lord, I love it.
So, with all of Angron and the like making planetfall, a good portion of the Imperial defenders are wounded because the World Eaters like ran into it, but are trying to turn around and trying to get to the actual Malik Bale to stop them.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Mr. Abcondis, our fleet master, is not quite able to pull it off himself, as the Ultramarines stationed, as well as the high-level Scions and the like on his ship, box him and strangely hear worry in the voice of the Ultramarines lieutenant, as Karn the Betrayer has boarded his ship.
Oh no! Oh no! It doesn't ever get good, does it? When the World Eaters are involved, for if you're on the Imperium, it just never gets good. Oh.
It says the Fleet Master's last transmission was a hurried string of orders against a backdrop of screams, gunfire, and the revving of chain teeth through bone. It ended with 3 words roared by a monstrous voice, caught by Abcondis' Vox relay, and broadcast to his horrified shipmasters: kill, maim, burn.
Oh no. Oh no. What a final transmission to get. Good God.
Poor guy. There he goes.
World Eaters at their peak. God.
So, Angron has made planetfall, and as has the group, and is making his way to the Coral Engine. And during this time, good old Inquisitor... I keep call her Enigma, but I know it's not Enigma. It's
Enagma.
Enagma,
yeah.
Something like that, yeah. Okay, now I'm losing my mind. Magna.
Gloria Magna. Magnificent Glory, I assume.
She has been there and is currently saying prayers to the God Emperor and yelling through the Vox and being like, the power of the Emperor is with you, etc., as her local Tempestus Scion personal honor guard holds all of the tech priests at gunpoint. As she goes to every single limiter on the Coral Engine and starts flicking them off.
Ooh, so she's setting the Coral Engine into overdrive.
Into maximum overdrive, as the tech priests are pleading that this tech heresy of what she's doing to stop. To stop doing what she's doing.
I can't believe even tech priests at this point. It's like, dude, look around. Just take a look. It's in a book. Like, you're about to get completely overrun by World Eaters. If there was a time to just be like, you know what, fuck it, this might be heresy. Limiters up! Now's the time.
You've been reading too much about Call, man. You gotta understand these people, alright? In the glory of the Omnissiah.
That's true. Yeah, I'm too used to Call just being like, it might be a little heretical, but that's okay.
So Angron decided during this battle to summon not 1, not 2, but 8 bloodthirsters of Khorne.
Holy shit!
And began marching down, and by marching, I mean batting his wings and flying and murdering everything in sight at Mach 5. Which, speaking of, as we're talking about this, no, it's not in this book. Shai, can you please write in the chat how Angron got his weapons? Because I know DK would get a kick out of this, and I'll read it in a bit.
Eight bloodthirsters and Angron? And if we remember right, the bloodthirsters are the things that gave what's his face trouble. Sanguinius. And he's got 8 of them.
He's got 8 of them, and they are marching down the Coral Engine. But the final limiter is turned off, and the Psychers start screaming in this endless cacophony of agony as the Coral Engine's blasts start flying out at a ludicrous strength. The light that burns Angron's eyes is so intense, and I believe it actually rips and sends 2 of his bloodthirsters back into the warp.
Oh, so now he's only got 6 bloodthirsters.
Oh, thank goodness.
What's he gonna do?
So he's like, it's basically a gigantic gust of wind of psychic energy. Like he's putting swords in the ground to pull himself forward and up.
Oh, yeah.
Get closer and closer to this abominable sorcery. The Imperials don't much like this feeling either in their head, but it's not as disdained as it is for, the sorceress hating Khorne.
Yeah.
As he finally makes his way to the main section of the Coral Engine, explosives from the Inquisitor detonate, and he falls into this giant pit set for him. And from there, the full contingent of Grey Knights, their Dread Knights, their Paladins, and all their weapons, along with rites of banishment being spoken from the Grey Knights, just unleash onto Angron. Scion blasts from their hotshots, everything. Everyone is looking around this pit. Angron's at the bottom, currently wounded by the thing, and they are just gunning him to a pulp.
Oh, yeah, I would imagine, and you just don't stop firing until everything is spent and you have nothing left, because it's Angron. Unleash all of it. Fire everything!
And in the book makes it pretty clear that this would have killed him. Now, Angron, as a character, can't really die because he's a demon. In fact, with the breaking of the rift, he will always come back in 8 days, 8 hours, and 8 minutes.
Oh man, that's actually a rather quick respawn timer for someone as crazy as Angron.
Yes, 8 days is not long, but it would keep him out from right here.
That's true, yeah.
But before they could, his retinue of bloodthirsters make their way up. And they have to adjust their fire at the bloodthirsters coming through. They take out a couple. I think the 4 swords and hammers of the various Grey Knights start cutting apart some of the bloodthirsters, 1 or 2 of them. One of them gets its whip of flame and brass and wraps it around Inquisitor Magna, and she's still shouting rites of banishment, still yelling at the God Emperor's prayers, firing a bolt pistol at this bloodthirster as she is yanked towards him through the sky and has her head cut clean off by the axe.
Oh man, I mean, she went out as hard as she possibly could. You know, chanting those rites, shooting that pistol. Like there are worse ways to go, I suppose. That's
Brother Captain Wild. This, of course, lets Angron get up a little bit because the fire has been moved. Brother Captain Crom actually throws his demon hammer and cracks Angron on the chin and sends him actually flying backwards. Not flying backwards, but knocked back for a second. Hits him again in one of his horns. And the 3rd strike was coming down right to his forehead before he got wrapped into the chains of one of his weapons. And then, unfortunately, his special axe, known as Spine Grinder, lived up to its name and absolutely turned him into 2.
Oh, yikes. Man, Angron is going to town Angron and his bloodthirsters are doing work.
They are crunching.
Yeah, they must love this. This is like, oh man, nothing better, baby.
So they finally make their way to the center of this coral engine, to the major console support, and to here, there's this really weird part of the book where like time kind of slows, and Angron feels behind him this mass, this like ungodly large force behind him, unsheathing a sword the size of a planet.
Whoa!
And it's the idea is that behind him is like Korn himself,
Oh,
kind of
all right.
right behind him, hand on his shoulder in a weird way. Like like Angron is too paralyzed to turn around and look at what it is, but it's kind of like the guiding. It's almost like the hand of God.
Yeah, so it's not
Pushing him
necessarily that
forwards.
like it feels like a bad thing behind him. Like it might paralyze him because it's so strong, but it's someone that wants to push him forward and like guide him. It's not someone that's necessarily trying to like stop him per se.
No, in fact, in a weird way, Angron is practically the sacrifice here, as Angron takes his weapons and jams them directly into the coral engine, and for a split second, the nails no longer rang, and he finally felt a moment of peace, a moment of no more pain and suffering to his mind and body. And then his entire body was just reduced to ash as the thing exploded.
Oh.
He became
Sheesh.
nothing.
So this isn't like is Angron fully completely dead?
No, he responds.
Okay, so he's gonna
he
respawn
responds
in 8
later.
days. Okay.
Yeah, and they
Good.
talk
I was
about
gonna be
him
like, holy
respawning.
moly, did they just sacrifice Angron? But I mean, if you're gonna die and you're gonna need to go on the respawn timer, good reason to do it though. To get rid of this giant coral engine, make it explode, this thing that is just gonna be a blight to chaos. That is a good reason to take an L. I mean, it's not really an L. That's kind of a big dub, but you get the idea.
No, he respawns, and it says in the book that once he does, he's like, one day I'll know the peace of my actual final death. And him not actually being dead makes him very angry and he starts murdering people. So, you know, classic.
Yeah, classic Angron. Yeah. Vintage
This basically destroys the planet. This
Oh, sure,
this
yeah.
engine was like in the core of its planet. Like
Yeah,
had
it was
tendrils,
wrapped up
things.
to the entire planet. That
So
thing blows up, the whole planet goes. Yeah.
This thing just starts heaving. Tectonic plates get ruined and adjusted. Lava starts flowing, and with this thing gone, this leads to the greatest ritual and the greatest sacrifice for Korn. Angron being the final like wet blade to make the final incision of the ritual, and then all the screens on all the loyalist ships turn blood red, and all the people have their veins bulging out of their bodies, and they go insane. And almost every mortal in the Imperium in this area gets afflicted by the murder curse, and they all turn on each other. We're talking space marines, we're talking sisters, we're talking fleets and guardsmen. That Admiral before Admiral Pell is eaten alive by his bridge crew.
Oh!
Everyone, like there's like a little excerpt of a sister's canoness like having to stop her fellow sisters from murdering everyone and trying to get things back together, and then she's just obliterated by a titan that has turned mad.
Oh my god! So Korn just went super crazy after this thing got destroyed.
This was half of the World Eater ships, and ungodly amounts of Imperials, and the blood tithe of a planet. Not just the amount of dead, but also the destruction of sorcery. That's his. thing, man.
So once that thing got destroyed, Korn was like, ooh, finger looking good, and he just was just like, oh, this is it. This is, oh, I am supercharged. Oh, baby, let's go. He's like, this is an all-you-can-eat buffet for him.
Yep, it truly is like disdain and hatred for sorcery and ungodly amounts of blood. The entire system is now basically, infected by a murder virus, so to speak.
Wow, that's
And
oh man. So can Korn like when so Shy said like this is a newly created murder curse. Is this something Korn can just do now? He can just inflict a murder curse on people if the conditions are right and just force everyone to go stir crazy and just murderize everything in a fit of rage no matter what they believe in?
so you're I think you're looking a little too into it.
Oh.
You gotta think like this was just it's a ritual to the dark gods. This was a gigantic carnal slaughter that empowers Korn. And so Korn threw this whole thing out, this powerful curse, because this giant psychic device he had detonation. Like it's just this is the result of what happened here. The result your results may vary, you know?
Yeah, because I mean, you're not gonna get a catastrophe of this level every day, right? This is planetary destruction, massive war. So yeah, I guess this should kind of just be seen as a one-off. This isn't like this isn't like, oh man, Korn leveled up and now he can just murder curse. It's, the conditions have to be right, and the aftermath of such a catastrophic loss of life resulted in this, right?
So, with that, way at the edge of the system is the Arcs of Omen, Stygian Heart of the Tzeentch worshippers.
Yeah.
And in this arc, coils of brass and silver start to maneuver their way through the arc, repairing its damages and fixing things up. And on the bridge comes out the metal clockwork hiss of Vashtor the Archifane.
Oh, let's go, Vashtor.
And he begins to pilot this arc towards the surface of Malakbile. And in fact, the Tzeentch worshippers, very upset at who the hell this is, he is able to keep them away from the bridge for a while by closing doors, closing bulkheads and stuff. But he's actually kind of pleased with how they're getting through his defenses. It's very smart and cunning as a Tzeentch. And so with one rap of his hammer on the ground, he teleports all of the Tzeentch worshippers to the warp, to his soul forges, in which he will provide to them a suitable contract for their extreme cunning and services.
Oh, well, good for them. They're about to get there. Yeah, hey, cool. Good for them. Nice work.
And so he slowly brings in the arc into Malakbile system. And down there he finds, after deep within the core, cracked away, now revealed with the destruction of the psychic device, a piece of a weird sweltering black rock that he with a delicate like touch of reverence almost is able to take it and put it into a ship, and he sails right back off.
Okay, like a part of me thought you were about to say like, oh yeah, since it's Vashtor and he's all about like the forge and making stuff and he can fix ships and stuff. I thought you were gonna say he was about to fix that coral engine and make it like a chaos version of it that just empowers chaos and just turn it against the humans. And, oh, more chaos. It's much more foreboding, foreshadowing. I like it.
The artifact was only revealed once the coral engine was destroyed.
Right,
So by using Angron as the perfect tool to destroy a psychic witch beacon really was the right decision. And as Shai has mentioned, the remaining of that fleet will be either given to Korn or be considered traitor because of what's going on, even if it wears off. So
Yeah, they would because they don't murder curse.
yep, there's actually a hilarious part where a Sister Repentia goes crazy and kills one of her sisters because of this. And then the unaffected sister shoots the Repentia and then says, "Unforgiven."
And I dub the Unforgiven.
Yeah, it's like, you are unforgiven. Oh,
Yep.
yes, okay. All right. Angron weapons are Spine Grinder and Somniaris. The former is a titanic chain axe, far beyond most mortal craft. It is also known as Perseax's Folly, named for the traitor Forge World that labored for decades to construct it, only to become the axe's first victim when Angron scorned their supplication. The latter is a demon blade of prodigious size containing the essence of a powerful Slaneshi demon whose gladiatorial posturing offended the Primarch enough for him to administer the beating of a lifetime using nothing more than an unworked iron bar, forging the blade in the process.
Oh my god.
I'm gonna beat you into a sword, and I'm gonna use that sword.
That's amazing. Those are the most Angron weapons you could ask for. I'm just gonna take this iron bar and I'm gonna beat you so fucking bad it's gonna grind into a sword, and I'm gonna just keep using it because you, Slanesh demon. Wow.
Not to mention the damn chain axe is called. It's literally like, wow, thanks Traitor Forger for making me this axe. I'm going to kill you all with this axe.
It's like, yes, this is finally crafted now. If only I could test it out. Jeez. Angron is just another level of psycho. Like, oh my god.
It's so hilarious. The sheer level.
Angron is so far beyond savage that it becomes comical. Like, he is 40k in a nutshell. Wow. I love it.
It's pretty great.
It is fantastic. I love it. Oh my god, these books are amazing.
I am very happy with the arcs of Omen. This Angron one also heralds the release of the World Eaters Codex 2, which I would love to get so we can have an episode on that. Yeah, it's also normally whenever there's like these kinds of stories, there's a little bit of like win some, lose some for both sides. This was a pure chaos win.
Oh,
they got what they wanted. Imperials are screwed. Tons more Khorne worshippers now, and their fancy pantsy psychic device is gone.
Yup, there is nothing good came out of this for the Imperium. Nothing. All of their generals and their special people and their Inquisitor, dead. Fancy psychic device that could have absolutely been such a vital tool for them and something that would help them so much. Man, get fucked, Imperium. Get.
Also, yes, Shy makes a good point. It's first time it's confirmed, as far as she knows, that Primaris Marines can be corrupted by Chaos as well. Also, they
Are we
corrupted.
gonna get Chaos Primaris Marines? Is that a thing?
No, currently not. But
will
it's
it
the
be?
fact that they got affected by it, and I mean, Sisters also got affected by it too, which is equally as surprising. I know there's some Sister stuff back then, but they're like known for being mostly pretty damn hard to corrupt.
Yeah. How would you feel if they released Chaos Primaris Marines and Chaos Sisters? If something like this was like, oh, hey, guess what we're planning to do for Khorne?
I mean, I don't know. Chaos Sisters feels a bit against their thing as models. Like, I'm okay with them having it in the lore every so often, but like, I don't know, as models
like
it feels a little bizarre.
in the game.
I mean, Primaris Chaos Marines are basically just like, there's already Marines that have been juiced up by Chaos. Like, they're basically a Primaris Marine at that point. It's just a various type. The only things that weren't really affected by the situation that happened here were like the Grey Knights, and like custodians wouldn't be affected, you know.
Naturally, sure.
But for the most part, yeah, pretty much there was no safety. No, pretty much no one outside of the Grey Knights in this major battle were safe from Khorne's effects. And it could just be because he needed this big of a sacrifice, this level of psychic machine. But
yeah, I was gonna say, I guess you couldn't really turn that into a squad because, like, to even have enough chaos craziness to affect a sister or a Primaris Marine, you needed this almost apocalyptic event and loss of life to make it happen. So it's not like, again, that's not something that's gonna happen every day. That's not something you can just keep churning out. Like, sure, they might exist in the ruins of Malik Bile, but there's no way Chaos can keep making that shit happen.
There's also, real quick before we wrap it up, there is a World Eaters thing in the book called Blood Tide. World Eaters in game are basically a stat check. They're like, we're not super tanky and we can't really do a whole lot in shooting, but if we get to you, like, goodbye. The moment we touch you, you are gone. They have this awesome rule called Blood Tithe, which is a point system. And you get a point for doing certain things like killing worthy opponents and stuff, but the main thing is you get a point for every single unit that is destroyed, friend or foe, because Khorne does not care from which the blood flows.
As long as the blood flows, be it friend or foe. Oh man, no wonder Khorne just loves Angron. My boy, my baby boy.
So, you can spend these points on various things to make you better in the game, but the big one is at 6 points. If you have Angron, you can resurrect him if he has died, and bring him back on the battlefield. So his coming back to life thing is an in-game mechanic. He's really actually quite squishy. I think he dies by far the fastest out of any of the Primarchs. But then you just set him back up, and you can do it, so long as you have the points, you can do it as many times as you want.
Oh man, that's pretty poggers. And
It's
of course,
pretty
for like
hilarious.
for the tabletop, you've got to have some sort of setback where it's like, yeah, he's kind of squishy, but as long as you have 6 points, bring him right back.
Yeah, and when he comes back alive, he only has like half of his wounds, so it's like it works that way. But it's still like
progressively easier to kill with more resurrections that happen.
Yeah, and it's still just no, it's just 8. I think he has like 17, but then he has 8.
Right. It doesn't go like, oh yeah, 8 and then 4 and then 2 or something. It's just always.
It's always 8. Of course, it's always 8. DK. Of course, it's always 8.
Of course, it's Khorne.
Yeah.
It's his number.
Anyway,
Whew.
good old Arcs of Omen are continually excellent lore reads.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Love them. Great stuff. Huge Chaos W. Enormous. Probably one of the biggest Chaos wins I've seen in a bit.
Yeah.
That was a big one. And I'm really hyped for the next one because you know who's next.
The next one's the Vashtor book,
It's
right?
the Vashtor
It's
book.
the Vashtor book, and then people are thinking maybe the 4th one is Farsight. Have they confirmed or said anything about that, or is it still a quote-unquote mystery?
It is a mystery. I believe it's supposed to be Farsight, and I think the 5th one is supposed to be the Lion.
I thought there were only going to be. How many Arcs of Omen books are there going to be?
I thought there was only 4. There might be a 5th. I thought there was I'm not sure. People are telling me that it might be the Lion. I might be wrong. I don't know. I'm